This is the Young Israel of West Hempstead's 67th anniversary dinner, honoring Rebbetzin Rochi Kelemer, Neil Torczyner, Izzo Zwiren, and our guests of honor, the members of the CSS.
On behalf of Shlomo and I, we'd like to thank the CSS members for all they've done to help us to honor this evening.
We would also like to recognize the members of 613, Ironclad Security, the administration of the Young Israel, Rabbi Galler, Arthur Kuperberg.
We'd also like to thank the other shuls in the community who have helped us with securing this area. That's Anshe Shalom and the Chabad of West Hempstead.
The dinner committee, specifically the chairperson of the dinner committee, my wife, Peggy Klein, for doing a wonderful job this evening.
The security committee for everything they've done over the years.
And last but not least, Nassau County Police Department and Homeland Security for all of the advice and backup that you have given us these past years. Thank you.
In my years at Young Israel, I've been able to serve the shul in many capacities, including as president of the shul. And I consider CSS the most important thing that I've ever done here in the shul.
I really love the community, and I wanted to be an active member of the community, and CSS was the way that I felt that I could give for myself.
I would come to shul and I saw people as part of CSS, and I thought they shouldn't be the only ones protecting our families and friends, so I joined as well.
After Pittsburgh, I think that really every member of the shul has to be cognizant of what's going on, be aware, and be in position to try to help each other.
Security is important. I mean, no one's going to protect us except us. We have to look out for number one, and Am Yisrael is number one. It should be to all of us.
Originally joined CSS, it was before the Pittsburgh incident, and when we stood outside the first few weeks, people laughed at us. They thought it was pretty funny. And then Pittsburgh happened and people took it seriously.
It's a great feeling to, walk into shul and be able to feel safe, which is why I encourage everybody, no matter how old you are, to join CSS, because the more members we have, the better it is and the more protection we can have.
I think it's very important for the next generation to know that we will always be here for each other. CSS wants you.
The important words in community security service for me is community. Here in West Hempstead, we have the gold standard of security teams, and we really work hard to cooperate and work together to keep everybody as safe as we can. The leadership and CSS teams at the various shuls, we regularly meet, we regularly train. There's no shul politics in security at all, and I am thrilled that Young Israel is recognizing the importance of the time commitment and the ability of the CSS team and what they and their families do for the community and for all of us.
The following is a paid advertisement. They come from different backgrounds. They come to serve and protect. They come in need of some serious training.
All right, down, up, down. Come on, people, you're barely doing anything. Why are you on the floor? Get up.
And at some point,
Could you please explain what a jumping jack is?
and at some point,
1, 2, come on, do it better. 1, 2, why are you on the floor already? Get up, 1, 2. Come on, people, diving faster. We only got 5 minutes of shift, let's go.
and at some point,
Several more breakfasts to go, let's go. Diving faster. Come on, let's have energy. Lift those legs, come on, what's wrong with you? Come on, there you go.
and at some point,
Hi, good shopping, sir. How are you?
I'm great, how are you?
Okay, how are you, sir?
Hi, I'm here for the morning communion.
Morning communion. Wow, we just go right inside, sir. No problem at all.
Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. Communion? Really?
I don't believe it.
and at some point, and at some point,
Hey guys, wait up.
it pays off.
Down, up, keep it going, down, up. Only 693 more to go. Down, up, down.
Hey, I'm here for the morning communion.
We don't really have communion here.
CSS. This is not an actual commercial.
Anybody who knows my parents, the last thing that they would ever do or have ever done is talk about themselves.
Her modesty and humbleness is something that I've learned from both of my parents, but especially from my mom. It's something that she embodies in a way that you want to be like that.
My father would always say that when we talk about the shofar on Mashiach, we say that it's going to be a kol demama daka. And he'd always say that about my mother, that everything was said with a soft voice, but it was a soft voice that has clarity, has impact, it is able to influence. That's the kol demama daka that in Mirz Hashem will be the Chayil of Mashiach.
There was definitely deep affection, the utmost respect, and my mother really, what we saw is give so much of her time, and I'll put time in capital letters, so that my father could do what he needed to do.
My mother, all the years, was the support and really built a home where my father was able to flourish and build a beautiful community.
She selflessly gave of herself and stood behind my father, and again didn't limit him on any community obligations, and how fortunate this community is and really embraces my mother that to have her in this community.
My mother was always there to impart quietly, softly, her knowledge, what she saw from the Gedolim of the past generations by her parents' house, and she was able to give that over to a new generation of Yidden.
I was the youngest child of Holocaust survivors. We grew up in Crown Heights, and my parents survived the war in Shanghai. My parents' home was a home of chesed. Even in Shanghai, they were a family already, and it was mostly the Bachrim that were part of the Mir Yeshiva, orphaned at young ages, and they knew if they needed something, they'd come to my parents. So when I first moved here, as I said, it was much smaller community, and also very Zionistic. Like there was always an Aliyah, there was always families making Aliyah. And then it began to grow. In West Hempstead, my children have wonderful, wonderful memories. It was a great community, children, very pro-children. It was like real all-American with a town of yeshiva and Torah. It was just a very warm feeling of achdus and caring and giving. You always had to be prepared for the unexpected. Okay, you never knew what time your husband's going to come home, Erev Shabbos, who he's going to come home with. But it was a given. There was nothing to discuss. My husband had his shul, I had my family, my children, and this is what I had seen, I guess, in my parents' home also. So it wasn't, I didn't feel I was giving up anything or losing anything.
Growing up, we considered a usual home. Only later, going out into the world and seeing other types of homes, we realized how special and unusual our home was.
When my friends would come over, they would always remark how soft-spoken my parents were, how soft-spoken my mom was, and I always thought that that was just how every parent was, but it was so true. I never heard my mom raise her voice. Even if she would get a little bit upset with us, it was always like, you can do better than that, you're better than this. My parents, growing up, even though they were klal people and gave themselves to the community, no birthday was ever forgotten. My father would buy us birthday cakes for Shabbos, any special events. My father was there, he knew the details. My mother took care of all our physical needs on her own. Any appointment, even if maybe it was an appointment hard to go to herself, she took us herself. She cared for each one if it was a school trip. When I went to school, they thought that I was an only child. They couldn't believe that I had so many siblings.
A few weeks after the Hanukkah lift were put away, it already became talk about the Shalach Manas.
She would pick something out that she really wanted, something that she thought if she got it in Shalach Manos, she would be excited to keep. And then it started with the outside part, the basket or the teapot, and then we would put different things in it. So sometimes it would be a little candy, it had to match the outside, gold wrapper for
This would mean going back and forth to the store multiple times.
Yeah, sometimes we filled in, we did like 100, didn't look right, we had to take them out. start over. It was kind of like a little assembly line.
The thought and the machshava and the hearts that went into making the shalachmanis, it's a way of being misameach with other Yidden that I have never seen anywhere else. And that's something that really talks to the core of what my mother was able to impart to us and to the whole community.
When I was approached by the sisterhood with the idea of accepting the Aishes Chayil reward, I discussed it with my parliament, my children, and they all said, of course you have to. You have to, because you have to say Hakaras Hatov to the community. I want to thank the many people, starting with Arthur Kuperberg, the president, sisterhood presidents, Gary Ann Harris and Tova Isserov, who approached me about this. All my years here in West Hempstead, there were some familiar faces to me when we first met. One of them was Harvey Liebman and family, who became very close, Rabbi Mel and Esther David. I couldn't do it without Esther, Mrs. Chapman, who was a link to our past and to our present and to our future. I wanted to mention my YIWH and Helen. He was the president who had interviewed my husband, and it was in his administration he brought us here. Over the years, my family and I have experienced much, happy occasions and also very trying ones. But you, the West Hempstead community, our extended family, have always been there for us, encouraging us, supporting us, advising us, cheering us on. The many tefillot and tehillim that were said on behalf of my husband Zatzal, the learning and shiurim, the Maasim Tovim that you have undertaken mean a lot to us. And so, for all this and much more, we have Maker Tov and say thank you.
I am so proud of Neil for getting this honor. He has been always in the forefront of getting the community to learn more Torah, to do more.
I think that we always look to Abba as someone who could do a lot of talking to like anyone about anything. Like we would go to a grocery store and literally you would become best friends with the cashier in about 0.2 seconds.
And then invite him for Shabbos.
And yeah, by the way, that happens too.
From the first year we were married until now, every single day, maybe he missed one time, he has learned Daf Yomi every day, and he participated first in a Daf Yomi Chabura at night, and ultimately he became a giver of the Daf one night a week.
You know, I'm a yeshiva guy. You know, he's working, but he's learning more than I'm learning probably, and it's a big lesson for me to try to make the most of my time.
I'd like to thank my wife, my family for supporting me, my parents for raising me. Baruch Hashem, Daf Yomi continues to grow in West Hempstead, and I've been involved with that throughout. And I really feel that this is Rabbi Kelemer's influence that really led to what goes on here. How he made everyone feel important and he made everyone feel involved. I want to thank the rabbinic guidance that Rabbi Galler has been giving me. And I also need to acknowledge Rabbi Rosenblum's role. His guidance at the ECC has been invaluable. I'd like to thank Dov Kesselman for getting me involved in the board about 10 years ago or so. Lester Bleich for continuing that, and other administration members who have truly helped and assisted, from Dan Rosenbaum to Harold Lipsky, David Barretts, and especially to Arthur Kuperberg and the current administration. I've never worked with a president like Arthur. This administration has been absolutely unbelievable. I appreciate that they're giving me this honor for community service, but really it's the community itself and the administration itself that should be receiving it as well.
So guys, the Gemara is telling us, all right,
let's try this again. Amar Aishes, Damar Shamanu, Shenisgayer Bevezed. At least if you're gonna play the game, at least play the game. At least give me a percentage of the winnings, John. At least a percentage of the winnings.
The wives think we're learning. Like, seriously, they think they're learning. Mostly, we learn a little bit. We've opened the Gemara once in a while, I think. Listen, you know, somebody else has to deal with bedtime. This is the way it's supposed to be, man. It's great.
This is where your values are. This is what you feel is important. I'm going to wish you all not only a good day, but a good life, because I am going to tender my resignation now. Take care, boys.
So let's pick it up from talking about the rules as it relates to Gerim on Daf Mem Zayin and Beis. The Gemara says, Amar Mar, Ger Shabal is Gayer. So if a Ger comes to convert, Omer Lo, Mara Isa, Shavasal is Gayer. Tosfos says, Lefi Shein Bikian B'Dukei Mitzvos.
Well, this is the fourth Rebbe we've had this year. Where do they find these people?
So we'll pick up towards the bottom of Mem Vav, Tan Rabbanan, Ger Shemal V'lo Tavel, Ein Ger Ad Shimo V'Yitbol. You have to have a complete process which involves both Mila and Tefillah.
This guy never loses his cool. He just keeps teaching while we break all the rules.
They haven't learned a single thing all year, but I'm not going anywhere. Gemara continues.
You push open the door
Amrullah,
at the top of the spiraling stairs.
Says,
you see a large white mass start to move.
Wherever it is that you're going
As
to
it
go,
grows
I'm
larger,
going to
you
go too.
realize that it isn't just a mass. It's the white
So again,
dragon Cryovane. He is a level 34 white dragon and incredibly thick scales, making him almost impenetrable to damage.
I apologize for cutting off your fascinating diatribe with my blade in your belly. Small talk was never my strong suit. I take out my elven bow and fire a magic arrow at the missing scale on Cryovane's neck.
Neil, don't! You'll never make it! That's true. You'll need to roll an 18 or higher.
I'll make it.
Yeah! The arrow slips right into the missing scale and pierces Cryovane's heart. He rears up on his mighty hind legs, gives a mighty roar, and falls to the floor, never to roar again.
Hey, we got Mashkim.
I brought the booze.
Yeah!
Now, gentlemen, you owe me one. Let's open our Gemaras. Starting from the bottom, first blue wide lines. The Bryce said, Emma here, So I might have thought where she didn't accept all mitzvahs about Kibbola, but if she accepted all mitzvahs,
You know, we never did find out what happened to the whiskey.
they're good men. They just needed the right Rebbe.
I'm so proud of Izzo for everything that he does for the shul. I really see him as a role model for myself and for our two kids, who I know look up to him as someone who is so giving and somehow finds time in the day to both do fun things with the family and work on his podcast and go to actual work and do whatever the shul needs him to do.
I'd like to thank, first and foremost, my wife, Shira, for all that you allow me to do, and thank you for always being there for me. Of course, I'd also like to thank my daughters, Emma and Callie. You guys mean the world to me. I'd also like to thank my parents, my in-laws, and of course, thank you to the administration, Arthur Kuperberg, Richie Feldman, and the rest of the administration, and of course, to Rabbi Galler. I'd like to thank my fellow members of the Men's Club, Shlomi Klein, Ellie Rosenberg, Avi Bloom, for all of their work and programming that go into the shul, as well as our counterparts over in the Sisterhood, Gary Ann Harris, Tova Isroff, and their whole crew, and of course all the fellow members of the Youth Committee. Thank you so much for all the hard work you do for the shul. And finally, to the Dinner Committee. Specifically, one particular member of the Dinner Committee, me. Yeah, that's right, I am on the Dinner Committee still this year. In fact, I'm directing this video that you're watching right now. And because of that, I kind of get to do whatever I want with this video. Very excited to be able to do that. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna add in so many things like explosions. Whoa, that was amazing. We're also gonna have like crazy CGI effects. Check this out. That's so cool. I can do whatever I want. I'm in charge. Cameos? You want cameos? We got cameos. Boom, Michael Jordan.
Alexa, how much would a Michael Jordan cameo be?
All right, so maybe not Michael Jordan per se, but we'll get someone to fill his shoes.
Hey Izzo, I am really flattered that you chose to include me in your dinner, and young Izzo couldn't have picked a better guy to honor. A little confused as to why you chose me, but I am really flattered. Thanks.
All right, so I have someone that I had on my podcast as a guest. What do we have? Like E.B. Rottenberg, Benny Friedman, the coach of the YU basketball team. I've had an actual member of Congress. We'll get one of those for sure.
Mazel tov on behalf of all the podcast guests. Was I the only guest you could get?
No. Why? What'd you hear? All right, so everybody from the shul is going to be dying to get into my video. What about some of the people that we have done in the past? Harvey?
No.
You know what? We need some real celebrity cameos on this video. We are going to do everything possible to get the biggest celebrities to come wish me a congratulations on tonight. And we're going to do it without any editing, and it's going to be 100% authentic from the moment they start talking.
I want to congratulate Izzo for this unbelievably prestigious award.
I want to thank my good friend Izzo, my drinking buddy, my tequila drinking buddy Izzo. Thank you.
With the very soul of America at stake and the world watching, Izzo ushered in a new day for America.
Happy 90th birthday,
Izzo.
As a kid growing up in the Bay Area, you were an incredible role model for me. I met you, I'm sure you don't remember, when I was 12 years old, and I was lucky enough to meet you at training camp in Arizona, and you signed a baseball for me.
How about some local celebrities, maybe?
Who's Izzo? I don't know who he is.
It's a privilege this year to give the Young Leadership Award to Izzo Zwiren, who really is a young person who's a leader, which that's why he got the award, because of the young leadership, and I think he's pretty young.
Who's Izzo Zwiren? Well, he's actually the nicest person, the most talented, if I ever have to say, the most handsome person I've ever had the privilege of working with. I mean, I can't read this stuff. Are you kidding me? Who's making this stuff up?
Just read what's on the card.
We'd like to thank our son for doing something productive with his life finally, and my wife and I are very happy about that.
We are really very proud that our son-in-law is being honored at the dinner. We're just amazingly so happy that he's part of our family.
And we would really like to wish Yaniv a mazel tov on this well-deserved honor.
Guys, it's me. I'm the one who's being honored.
You're kidding.
Oh, really? Oh, you deserve an honor too.
So here's the great thing about this video. I could be the center of attention for as long as I want. I could just have this keep rolling and rolling and rolling. As long as you guys are still paying attention to me, that's all I need. That's what the head of the video is supposed to do. Make sure you guys are entertained for the entirety of this dinner, and I can just keep talking and talking and talking. And as long as that video doesn't run out of battery or film left, I'm